Is anyone here from Dorsey or no?
Yes.
Yeah, you are. That's right. Good. And your daughter. I remember you both. How's business?
Very good.
Good. You want to expand. It can't be too bad, right?
We're hoping we can expand.
Not good. Okay.
We need your help.
That's why we're here. Okay. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. We have many of the luminaries of the Hudson Valley, our great county executive, Mark Molinaro, our outstanding mayor, Mayor Kasich, Charlie North, the indefatigable, always ever present Charles, what's your middle initial?
S.
Charles S. What does that stand for?
Stanley.
Stanley. Very nice.
Sponsor, actually.
Sponsor, good. And Mike Oates, who's doing an amazing job as head of the Hudson Valley Economic Development Corp. Now, all of the people standing with me today have really laid the foundation for economic growth in Dutchess County. And frankly, Dutchess County is doing a lot better than most other places in both New York State and the country, in good part because of a great workforce we have here, and in good part because of the hard work of the people standing alongside of me. But we have some obstacles that could help, that are standing in the way of growing further. And that's what we're going to talk about. There's potential for increased prosperity right here on Oakley Street. But as you can see, we're standing behind me are two empty buildings, 12,000 square feet of economic uncertainty. So I'm here to salute the efforts of local economic development agencies and of our elected officials to create jobs in Dutchess, but we now want to mount an all-out offensive to see that more new companies can come here on Oakley Street. For 5 years, the former Carpenter Army Reserve Center has remained vacant. It's been demoted. The Carpenter Army Center has been demoted to create a glaring hole in our Hudson Valley economy. Multiple high-tech companies and manufacturers stand at the ready. They want to occupy this site and put Dutchess County residents to work at good-paying jobs. But Dutchess County taxpayers and officials have been forced to shoulder the burden of this dead weight on the Hudson Valley economy since the center closed. And that was 5 years ago in 2007. So let me explain. There's something that we have in Washington called BRAC. BRAC is the Base Realignment and Closure Commission. And what BRAC does is it picks excess facilities that the military has and suits them for closing. Since its inception, it's had 6 rounds of closure. The most recent was in 2005. And as part of that process, they recommended that the Carpenter U.S. Army Reserve Center be closed. The Carpenter Center and 4 other U.S. Army Reserve Centers had their units relocated to the newly realigned Fort Totten Armed Forces Center in Queens. The closing of the center in 2005 was expected to save the U.S. government about $50 billion over the next few decades. But there's a responsibility that the Army has when they close a facility. That is to convert it, if you will, to civilian purposes quickly and happily for the community. And I've worked on this BRAC process throughout New York State. In fact, 2 of our big Air Force bases were closed. It was before I got to the Senate. One at Griffiths in Utica and one in Plattsburgh up north. Both of those have more civilian employees now on those bases than they had when the military was there. More employees. Why can't it happen here? That's the bottom line. Now, they closed the center, and the city, right after closure, received significant interest to purchase and redevelop the facility. And the city of Poughkeepsie decided in 2008, you weren't mayor then.
Yes, I just
you
became
were.
mayor.
You had
Yes.
Mayor Kasich had just become mayor, having enlisted, so to speak. It's supposed to be that. Having enlisted in public service.
Don't you hate when you have to tell them to laugh at her?
Yes, that means they're not very good. So he had just become mayor and decided a public sale was the best course of action. That the optimum use of the facility was for additional manufacturing and business development space. So this is good space, people want it, and yet what do we have? It's still closed. They just put up that sign last week, and I have a feeling they put up that sign, the putting up of this sign had something to do with us calling them and saying we're having a press conference here. I just have that hunch. 5 years is much too long. Over the years, the building has sat empty. It also deteriorates. It makes it harder to rehab the longer you wait. Overgrown trees are growing on the facility's roof. There might be damage. It would deter businesses from purchasing the property. With the demand high, the Army could recoup a significant amount. So they'd get some money. I don't see why they're sitting on their rump and waiting. But they are. So my purpose here is simple: to light a fire under the Army and the General Services Administration to work with Dutchess County stakeholders and expedite the process and get it going once and for all. The Hudson Valley could lose on over 50 jobs here. Dorsey, Mr. Ludi of Dorsey and his wonderful daughter, who I met when I toured the facility a couple of years ago, are interested in this plant. Thank God. Their business is growing. They want to expand. If they were, and they're willing to bid on the auction like everybody else to see if they could get the property. I don't know if you'd use all of it yourself or rent it out to others, but that would be, I think what I've been told is if Dorsey got the property, there'd be 10 new employees immediately and potentially 50. Is that a correct statement, Mr. Ludi?
And immediately and up to 15 or 20 in the next year or two.
There you go. Good paying jobs at a good company that manufactures high quality products here in the Hudson Valley. Now, the Army Corps is trying to work with the local development authority and the city of Poughkeepsie to ensure that all the BRAC policies are followed. And it is a bureaucracy, and BRAC is a little too cumbersome. The BRAC realignment process is a little too cumbersome for my taste. But even with that cumbersome process, 5 years is too long. You might ask in the media, why did they take so long? My view, just stating me, not these folks, it wasn't a very high priority for them. They had other facilities that were larger, other businesses to get in the way. The Army Corps is great, and we've had so many floods throughout New York State, including some here in Dutchess County in the Hudson Valley, particularly across the river in Ulster, that they've had other things to do. But come on, fellas, 5 years when we're trying to create jobs in this country. So I love the Army Corps, but I'm asking them to light a fire under this, and I'm lighting a fire under GSA as well. Similarly, the Department of Housing and Urban Development is working with us, so we're there. So we want to create the jobs. All the stakeholders are in line. An auction would clearly have this property bought by somebody who could use it to create jobs. Maybe Dorsey. I can't influence who gets it. That'll be an open auction. But they're right here as an example of that. So we want to get it going, and I'm going to call on my friends here to say a few words. And we'll first start with our outstanding, hardworking, and friendly county executive, Mark Molinari.